We remain with HIV/AIDS with a look at pediatric AIDS. Maurine Murenga, a mother from Kenya, has a teenage son who is living with HIV and a 4-year-old son who was born HIV-free. Maurine is a spokesperson with the Glaser Pediatric AIDS Foundation. She shares her own experience about finding help for herself and her children and the impact of the foundation.
I'm honored to be here on the 30th anniversary of the Glaser Pediatric AIDS Foundation that supports actually ending of pediatric AIDS globally. When I was diagnosed with HIV, I was a young woman in the early 2002 actually. I was a young woman and I had all these dreams and visions, but I was diagnosed when we were told there was no treatment. I was given a maximum of 2 years to live. So that was compounded by a pregnancy that I had, and the doctor changed the 2 years to almost a year. He told me, now that you're pregnant, you may not live long enough because your immune system is going to be compromised. It was such a scary time, and majority of people in my country could not afford treatment. A few could in private hospitals, which was very, very expensive. But for the common person, it wasn't.
Fast forward where you are now. You have a child who is HIV negative, and you are with the Glaser Pediatric AIDS Foundation. What made that journey for you possible?
The journey was made possible, first of all, by advocates. We have people who have come out of their way to push the world to find solutions for HIV. So through that, and the US government taking the leadership in the AIDS response, managed to avail treatment to countries such as mine. And therefore, my son and I were enrolled on treatment. Then we didn't still have pediatric ARVs in my country, or pediatric treatment for HIV in my country. So I would break the adult tablet into two, and sometimes one side would be smaller than the other, and you don't know which one to give at what time. But through those challenges, we kept advocating for better treatment for children. And with time, we found better treatment for children, and therefore my son and I are still alive because of that effort. And because of that effort too, and because I was able to be enrolled on treatment, I had another baby, and now he didn't get the infection.
What do you see as some of the priorities?
There is a need for a variety of treatment for children. And I think organizations like Glaser have done quite a lot of work to actually work with scientists, push the agenda to advocates like us to run with it in the part of the world where we come from. As much as we celebrate the miles we have made, we are not yet there, because not all children who are HIV positive can actually access the treatment. Yeah. And some of those who access it access some not very friendly bitter syrups that could be made better. And besides that, I think we should also focus on ensuring as little as possible children get infected, because it's possible to prevent mother-to-child transmission of HIV.
Now you are also the founder and executive director of the Lean On Me Foundation. Tell us about what your organization does.
Lean On Me Foundation was founded based on my experience as a woman living with HIV. I was young. I had this baby. I didn't know what to do. And as Al grew up, I was always very protective of him. I would always hug him every time he went through a stigmatizing process. So I thought, what if I'm not there? Who would do this? And I thought I needed something bigger than just me, something that would always be there for Al, and not only Al, but other children like Al. So that was the reason I founded Lean On Me Foundation, and we work with adolescents and young women, supporting access, adherence, and retention to treatment and other HIV services.
What kind of impact have you seen?
In terms of the children that come to Lean On Me have better confidence than other children that haven't come to our center or haven't received the kind of services we give. And that confidence also supports in treatment retention, because they understand why they're taking treatment, they accept their HIV status, they're able to deal with different forms of stigma, and they have already dealt with self-stigma. So that kind of confidence, that kind of building their self-esteem helps quite a lot, even in their performance in school. I must say the adolescent group is very challenging, and we see most of adolescents who are doing well as children become sick when they're adolescents, and some of them die. So we have seen the ones that in our group live, like, we don't see so many deaths with the adolescents in our group. So we know we are doing something right. Yeah.
For the past 30 years, the Elizabeth Glaser Pediatric AIDS Foundation has championed the fight to prevent pediatric HIV infection and eliminating pediatric AIDS through research, advocacy, and prevention and treatment programs.